Today on the show, it's our Godzilla review, and with mini comic review for She-Hulk. Today's episode is sponsored by Audible.com. I'm going to be talking about my most recent listen, My Life as a White Trash Zombie by Diana Rowland. I liked it so much, I bought a physical copy for my bookshelf. We're going to be talking about that at the end of the episode. And if you're a new customer to Audible, you can get one free book using the promo code ComicBookGirl. And be sure to stick around because I'll be doing a bonus review of White Trash Zombie at the end of the episode. But now, let's get on to Godzilla! So I saw Godzilla on opening weekend. And man, my socks were just blown right off. I just had the best time watching it. I really enjoyed it a lot. This movie has fantastic directing. I can't believe that this is Gareth Edwards' second film, first big budget film, okay? Like, high five to you, bro. Second of all, the movie had fantastic tension and suspense. And one of the biggest reasons I loved this movie was the fact that Godzilla got to be the hero. That's my favorite Godzilla. I love it when he gets to be the hero. All in all, this is like better than we even deserve, okay? This movie is so great. We could have easily gotten something terrible, okay? Keep in mind, I'm coming off the 98 Godzilla one. That's my last experience, which was not good, all right? And this one, man, I just don't understand people who are criticizing it. And I've been seeing a lot of people on the internet and on Twitter and stuff being like, nah, not so good. And I'm just like, what? And I feel like there's a few things that are going on with the people who did not like this film, and I'm going to explain to you my theories on that. Expectations for The Mind Killer, and I've been telling you fuckers for like a year to stop watching trailers. Okay, they'll put anything in that trailer. They'll do anything to get you into those seats. So you can't trust it, okay? You can't trust it. They're gonna give away stuff in the trailer. They're gonna show you the best shots. They might misdirect you. They might put shots in there that aren't in the film. All sorts of weird stuff can happen, okay? They're gonna cut it and make it look like something it's not. It happens all the time. You guys have got to stop doing this to yourselves because it's your own fault.
I have a right to know! I deserve answers!
It's because they're not familiar with this monster. They have not experienced him before, and they may have some weird expectations, okay? It's like, have you seen a Godzilla movie? Like, most of them are terrible. Like, they're really bad. So, not all of them, but just saying, people hear the name Godzilla, they think, oh, the King of the Monsters, oh, that's great. But they have no context because they've never seen any of the older ones, so they don't know that it's kind of more schlocky than anything. It's not really that serious of a franchise to begin with. And for that reason, I feel like the people who have seen Godzilla films should really love this film. I can't imagine people who are a fan of Godzilla, an actual fan of Godzilla, not liking this film because they know what's going on, and you don't. So here's a few of my favorite moments from Godzilla. First of all, I really like the fact that you see that chrysalis thing at the Fukushima plant. I didn't know that there was other monsters in the film. I didn't know anything about this film, so I didn't know that it was a Muto. So you expect it to be Godzilla and you have all this misdirection, but then when you see it, you're like, oh shit, who the fuck is that? Like, that was so good. I really enjoyed it. Even though these monsters can't speak, you know exactly what they're thinking, and I love that. One moment I really liked was that opening scene where Bryan Cranston has to make the decision to boop the door and his wife's behind there and you see her, and it was just like really emotional. I wasn't expecting to get this big emotions going on, you know, watching a Godzilla movie. I felt really bad. I was like almost cried. Another detail that I liked, that they put gills on Godzilla, so like explains him swimming around and breathing underwater. And I like that he got tired, you know, because he's so big. He's like, fuck, it's just really hard to carry myself around. I thought he just had so much personality, and I really appreciated what they did with his character. I feel like this director put a lot of love and care into this movie. He definitely respected Godzilla. He wasn't just trying to make a buck. You know, he did this for the love of it. In fact, it almost didn't even get made. It took 4 years to make this movie. It was supposed to be out in 2012 and then 2013 and all this crazy shit was going on. But I'm glad it paid off, okay? I'm glad it still came out because, it's just so good to see a movie where the love to money ratio, where you have more on the love side than the money side. And that's rare in a summer blockbuster because summer blockbusters cost so much money to make. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars, and people's jobs are on the line and their whole entire studio could collapse if they don't make their money back. So there's a really high money expectation on these films, right? So it's really hard to surpass it with the love, but he did. He pulled it off, and I'm so excited that he did, and I hope to see more movies from him. And by the way, his movie Monsters, which is the one that got him the job on Godzilla, is on Netflix right now if you want to check it out. And one of the things I appreciate most about this movie is the fact that it's so respectful to the legacy of Godzilla. Unlike that garbage from 1998, man, that movie really taught me what movie disappointment was. You know, I didn't even know how bad it could get. In that film, you're supposed to cheer for the US military killing an icon of Japan. No thanks, okay? Second of all, it looks terrible. We've already been over this, all right? So the Japanese think the 98 Godzilla is so lame, because he is. They call him Gino, which is an acronym for Godzilla in name only. And they made a movie called Final Wars where they have the real Godzilla, like, kill that punk in like 60 seconds. Good for you, Japan. You totally should have done that. You have every right. Every right. But I feel like this movie, they're gonna be like, fuck yeah. You know, this is great. Thank you guys for finally getting it right. So let's take a moment to talk about the theme of Godzilla. And I think it's important to note that the theme here is nature finds its balance. And it seems like a simple theme. You think to yourself, oh, nature, balance, okay, whatever. But it's a message that the people in this film are trying to understand, and it's one that we ourselves have yet to learn in real life. Mankind tends to think that we can control nature and that we are separate from it, when in fact, we are part of a larger organism that is nature. We are nature. We come from the earth. We consume the earth's nutrients. We breathe its air. There is no separation. And as you may or may not have noticed, life always finds a way to balance things out. So if we, as mankind, do things to throw everything out of whack, nature is going to find a way to restore the balance. And that is what Godzilla is. The original notion of Godzilla is that he is a leftover from the Cretaceous period, and that he had evaded extinction by being at the bottom of the sea floor, feeding off volcanoes and radiation down there. And then, after the atomic bomb was built, he was blasted with radiation, which mutated him and made him grow and amplified him into what he is today. And I think it's very provocative that the filmmakers decided to put a Japanese nuclear disaster in the beginning of the film, which is highly akin to the Fukushima disaster. It makes you think about that and about how there's just fuck tons of radioactive material that are just being dumped in the ocean and how fucking terrible that is. Okay, it's a nice callback to that. A lot of giant blockbuster summer crazy action films wouldn't even bother with this sort of stuff, okay? And I appreciate that they went the extra mile. They put a theme in there, as well as awesome giant fights. And that's how I judge a movie. I need a theme, okay? I need a core that you build a movie around, and it has a soul, and it has something that it's trying to tell you, and just make you aware of something. Aware of something other than yourself and your shitty, stupid problems and your mom yelling at you, or you don't have the new iPhone or something. I don't know. And speaking of powerful, strong, green heroes, I want to tell you about my favorite new Marvel series, She-Hulk. Oh my gosh, it's so good. All right, guys. So Jennifer Walters is back. She's doing her thing, and I'm loving it, okay? The writing in this is so good. I actually wanted to wait until getting all 6 issues together before I talked about it, but I just can't help myself, so I'm going to talk about it now. And I know there's a lot of people out there who watch the show, but they don't really watch it for comic book stuff. They watch it for more movies and Game of Thrones and things like that. And if you're one of those people and you've been thinking about dipping your little toesies in the comic book pool, I would say that this is a great place to start. This is great for new readers. You don't have to know anything about anything. You can just go, and it's so much fun. And there are so many really cute cameos in this. There's a Tony Stark cameo, there's a Daredevil cameo, there's all these other characters that are always popping by and popping in, and it's just such a delight, you know? And this book really doesn't go over her origins or anything like that. It just kind of jumps in. So let me give you a quick origin if you need one. Her name is Jennifer Walters. She's Bruce Banner's cousin. She had to get an emergency blood transfusion from him. That gamma radiated blood turned her into She-Hulk. She's green 100% of the time, but she's not a superhero 100% of the time. She is also a badass attorney. That's right, she's also a lawyer, and the guy who's writing this, Charles Soule, I hope I said that right, he is also an attorney, and you can totally tell that he totally knows what he's talking about. I was reading on his wiki, and apparently he does like immigration law, and that's like totally in here where he talks about crazy immigration law with like Victor Von Doom's son. It's like so awesome. So the concept is Jennifer Walters is starting her own law practice all by herself. And the thing is if you've ever tried to own your own business, like there's so many funny things in here that you can totally relate to, of just like how hard it is and how ridiculous and all the crap you have to put up with. For example, she can't even find like a space, and she ends up having to rent from someone who specifically only rents to superheroes because nobody will rent to them because they're afraid that they're gonna bust through their roof or some guy's gonna throw a missile at the fucking building, which totally makes sense. It's like the insurance would be so high for these like renters. It's insane. So I thought that was a really nice touch. And this comic is just filled with nice touches. There's so much humanity going on, and that's what I'm responding to the most. Like, I'm reading this character and she feels like a real person to me, and I love it. I love it. I think she's very relatable. She's a lot of fun. There's a lot of comedy going on. She likes to drink. She likes to booze. She likes to party. But fair warning, if you're one of those 90s guys who used to read like Spawn and shit like that, and you're used to a more crazy superhero-y art style, then you know you're in for a shock here, because this art style is not this ridiculous, overblown superhero style that you always see. And it's not a ridiculous, overblown superhero comic that you always see. The art is very appropriate for setting the tone for the story of this. And I like it a lot. It's a little more cartoony, and some people out there, like I was arguing with this guy on Twitter about it, who's like, I didn't like the art. And it's like, you may not like this style, but the art is fantastic, okay? It is solid. There is no awkward poses. Like, everything looks good. The backgrounds are good. The action's good. The way they're laying pages out is a lot of fun. So if you don't like the style, it's a personal problem for you, okay? The artwork is lovely and illustrates perfectly this super fun story. So if you're interested in becoming a new reader, go to your comic book store, pick up these 4 issues. They're still laying around there, okay? They're still there. You can get them. And if you want to wait for the trade, there's probably going to be 2 more issues coming out in the next 2 months. And then a few months later, it'll be in trade form, so then you can do the trade paperback. That's what you're more into. So, got a lot of options. So now it's time for my White Trash Zombie review, written by Diana Rowland and narrated by the delightful Alison McLemore. Oh my gosh, she was just such a perfect narrator. She had such the perfect southern drawl. I just loved it being from the South. I totally bought her accent. It was fantastic. And I just had a lot of fun listening to this book. I know in the past that I've said like, fuck zombies. I'm so over zombies. And you know what? The market is a bit oversaturated, but this totally is a whole new, fresh take on zombies that I think is a lot of fun. I've never seen anything like this before, okay? This story centers around Angel Crawford, and she's like living in Louisiana, and she's like this white trash girl, and she's like had all these problems, and she's on probation and all this stuff, and she wakes up in the hospital, and she thinks like, oh, I was in a car accident, but they're like, no, you overdosed. And it's like this whole thing. She figures out later on that she's a zombie, that she has to eat brains or else she'll start rotting. She gets a job at the coroner's office so she can like have access to brains. And it's so much fun. Like, and then there's a zombie serial killer on the loose and she's got to like figure out what's going on. And it's like, and all the while she's like learning about herself and like trying to turn her undead life around. You know, now that she's not alive anymore, she's like, decided to not be such a white trash person anymore, and she's trying to like get her shit together, and it's so much fun. It's such a great journey. I really enjoyed it so much that I ended up buying the books, and I read the second one because I was like so excited that like I just read through it in one day. I was like, it's so good, I have to read the second one because listening to it like takes longer. So I was just like, I just gotta read this right now. And I was so pumped for White Trash Zombie that I was like, this would make a great television show. And I was like looking it up and I saw that it potentially was going to be a television show. And then I got like really excited. But then later I found out that they're not going to make the television show because the CW is making their own zombie show based off the comic book Izombie. And they are similar in the fact that they have a white-haired female zombie protagonist who still has her wits about her. Like, they're not like, you know, they're people still, you know. So then I went and picked up Izombie, written by Chris Robertson and illustrated by Mike Allred. And I was reading through it, and it was a lot of fun. It was very whimsical. It's about this, you know, female zombie gravedigger, and she's living in, like, Portland, Oregon. And then there's, like, these vampire paintball girls, and she has, like, a were-terrier friend named Scott who has a crush on her, and she's got this, like, swinging 60s ghost friend named Eleanor. And every time she eats a brain, she gets all the memories from the people, and then she's got to go, you know, figure out what their dying wish was. And it was really cute. But I looked into the show Izombie, which is being developed by Rob Thomas, and I saw that the show Izombie isn't Izombie at all. Like, I looked at the cast, there's no Eleanor, there's no Scott. I didn't see anything about having ghost friends and were-terriers and vampires. And what I saw in the synopsis instead was zombie girl works in a coroner's office, like somebody I know, to have access to brains, and then teams up with a fucking medical examiner and a police detective to solve crimes like some series I know. And I'm like, what the fuck? This shit is crazy. They are shitting on not one, but two fucking properties here, okay? Because they're not doing Izombie, which is really fun and cute. They're not fucking doing this. Instead, they're doing this, but then they're calling it Izombie, and then Diana Rowland is probably getting fucked over because they're stealing her IP. What the hell is going on, people? I do not know, and I am really upset about this whole situation, and I do not like seeing my character being screwed over by the fucking CW, all right? What kind of a world are we living in? I know I'm ranting. I don't care. I got so upset. I was like, it ruined my whole day. It ruined my whole day when I found out about this. It's just like, way to shit on two franchises at once. Way to piss off two different fan bases by not doing either one. So you're doing this one wrong. You're ripping this one off. I don't know what. Cats and dogs living together. What kind of world are we living in? So anyways, in conclusion, I think everyone should go on Twitter and ask Rob Thomas about what the fuck's going on, all right? I respect him for doing Veronica Mars, you know, that's badass, but why is he doing this? I mean, is he ripping it off on purpose? Is it just a coincidence? I don't know, but I don't like it. So in conclusion, this is still an ad for Audible. And since Diana Rowland is totally being screwed over here, I want everyone out there to go out and download this book. It's totally awesome. Support her art because it's totally fantastic and she doesn't deserve this nonsense. And yeah, let's do it, folks. So that's it for Godzilla and She-Hulk. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. And the reason I decided to listen to White Trash Zombie on Audible was because I modeled for the third book for the cover, White Trash Zombie Apocalypse, and I'm also modeled for the upcoming White Trash Zombie book. So I figured since I'm modeling for Angel Crawford, I should probably read the book series. So I did. And it was fantastic. I'm even more excited about being the model now.
Sure you're not biased?
I'm not biased. I'm totally not biased. Like, I was just really blown away by this. If I didn't like it, okay, I would not be talking about it because I'm a terrible liar and I cannot say good things about things I don't like. This is not how I roll.